Hi, I'm Mrs McTaggart. In this video we're going to look at the National 5 topic of expanding double brackets. So that's when two brackets are stuck together and multiplying each other. Now in this video I'm using the FOIL method. I don't always call it FOIL, but it's the order I do it in. I like to call it the claw method to my class, but you'll see what I mean when I come to do it. There is another method called the box method, which I've got in another video, so make sure you're watching the right video. Okay, so before I start, this is the type of thing we're going to be doing, but there's going to be letters and numbers in it instead of just A, B, C and D. I've put them in just to try and get us used to the order of the things, okay? Now, basically, there are two ways to do this. There's a long way and a short way. The long way is basically to break it up in times and write it out like this. So you can write it as A bracket C plus D. So that's the first term times that bracket, and then plus the second term times that bracket and write it like this. Okay, and then you times that out and you would get AC plus AD plus BC plus BD and whatever they would happen to be. And some things would tidy up. However, there is a quicker way. What you can do is, rather than have to write out this line here, there is a quicker way. So the quicker way is to use what's called FOIL or claw, which is like an order to multiply in. Okay, now FOIL stands for first, O stands for outside, I stands for inside, and L stands for last. So what this means is we multiply the first two things together, then we multiply the two outside things together. Then we multiply the two inside things together. It makes a wee smiley face. And then you multiply the last two things in each bracket together. So first outside, inside, last. And then look at the wee shape this makes. To me, this is just jumping out to me as like a little green claw. Okay? And it is the order that you do things in. Okay? So first thing is multiply the two first terms. Second step is the two outside terms. Third step is the two inside terms. And the fourth step is the two outside terms. And until you get into the swing of things and get really good at the method, I would encourage you to draw in these little lines. Some of my pupils call them rainbows, all right? Basically, all that's happening there is it means that everything in the first bracket is times everything in the second bracket. And that's what's happening. Okay, so let's look at this in terms of actual numbers. And I won't always use the first outside, inside, last acronym because I prefer to use the lines and call it the claw. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So we're going to do the first two terms. So we do x times x, which is x squared. Then we do the outside terms, which is x times 3, so 3x. Then we come underneath and we do the inside things. 1 times x is 1x, but I'm just not going to write the 1. I'm just going to leave it as x. And then the last two terms we multiply and that makes a plus 3. And then you see that big kind of claw shape like the claw on a crab. Now what you will notice on this one is these middle two terms are both x terms. Now they then gather up. So what actually happens is you end up with 3 terms in your answer for these ones. So you've got an x squared at the front, you've got a plus 3 at the end, and then the two in the middle gather up. So you've got a 3x plus a 1x, so that gives you a plus 4x in the middle. Now this was a nice straightforward one because everything was pluses, there wasn't any big numbers. They do get a bit more complicated and you have to be really good at your rules of negatives and multiplying by negatives, okay? And this thing that you have created is called a trinomial, but you'll meet more about that later on in the National 5 course. You should be expecting 3 terms to your answer, an x squared and an x and a number for these style of questions. Let's have a look at another one. So this time I've changed my letter to y's. It can be any old letter. So we're going to do the same again. We're going to use the lines to guide us. So we're going to do the first two things. Y times y is y squared. Outside things, y times 4 is 4y. Then we're going to come underneath and we're going to do the inside things. Now watch, we've got a minus here now, okay? So we're timesing by minus 2. So we get minus 2y. And then the last two terms, you've got minus 2 times 4, which is a minus 8. And when you tidy it up, the two things in the middle gather together. So you've got y squared. We've got a 4y take away 2y. Well, 4 take away 2 is just 2. So positive 2y take away 8. And that's your answer for that one. Again, we've come out with the y squared, the y and the number. Places where people go wrong are things as simple as getting the signs wrong and maybe not being able to do things, very simple things like 2 take away 4 or 4 take away 2. So just watch your basics, okay? Number 3. Let's do it with a z this time. This time my negative's in the other bracket. Okay, so we're going to do our first two terms again. I'm going to put my lines in. So z times z is z squared. Z times negative 5 is minus 5z. 3 times z is plus 3z. And 3 times negative 5 is minus 15. Now that one you don't need to worry about signs so much because the negative was in the second bracket. It's always when the negative's in the first bracket that you can make silly wee mistakes, I think. So then we're going to gather up the middle two terms. I'm not going to bring my highlighter out this time. We've got a z squared, we've got minus 15. Now in the middle we have a minus 5z plus 3. Now a wee tip, sometimes people find this a bit tricky and they go, oh, is it minus 2? Is it 2? Is it 8? Is it minus 8? Start at minus 5, plus 3 means you come up the number line. So we're down at minus 5 and we need to come up 3, which takes you to negative 2. Another little tip for trying to do negative 5 add 3 without making a mistake is start with a positive number. Read right to left instead of left to right. Read it as 3 take away 5 instead of minus 5 add 3. It's much easier. 3 take away 5, 9 times out of 10 you could tell me is negative 2, no bother. So in the middle I've got a negative 2z. Okay, and again, out comes my 3 terms z squared, a z and a number. Okay, this one has got negatives all over the place. We're going to do the same again, same order. We're going to multiply the first two things. So m times m is m squared. M times negative 4 is negative 4m. Then we're going to come down below with our lines. We're going to do negative 2 times m. So remember that's going to turn negative, so negative 2m. Now, negative 2 times negative 4 is a double negative, so that's going to turn into a plus. 2 times 4 is 8. Tidy up the middle two terms. You've got a minus 4 minus 2, so that means you start at minus 4, go down another 2, which takes you to negative 6, add 8. So there's your answer for that one. Right, let's make it a little bit harder, just make the numbers a bit more complicated. So we're going to put numbers in front of the y's now. It doesn't change anything, it just means there's more multiplications to do. So first two terms, timesing everything by 3y. Well, 3 times 4 is 12, y times y is y squared, so that's 12y squared. 3y times 3 gives you a 9y. Then we're going to come and do the underneath lines. So we're going to do negative 6 times 4. So that turns to negative 24y. And then negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. So I've got a 12y squared at the beginning. I've got a negative 18 at the end. Let's do the bit in the middle now. So I've got 9 take away 24. 9 take away 24 is the exact same as 24 take away 9. But we're going below 0, so we know it's going to be negative, which is 15. So negative 15y. Okay, be very careful with the tidying up, okay? That is honestly where some of my class get caught out for very silly stuff. Okay, this one here, don't be put off, it's in a different order. Not all brackets have got the letters at the beginning, but we're going to follow the rules I've shown you and do the same order as all the others. So first two terms is 5 times 3 is 15. Outside two terms, 5 times minus 5 is negative 25m. Let's come down below. Inside terms would give you negative 2 times 3 is negative 6m. And then here's that negative again. So negative 2 times negative 5 turns to a plus. 2 times 5 is 10. And then you actually were doing m times m there, so 10m squared. So all that's done is kind of put our answer in a strange order. So if I tidy up the middle bits, I'm a wee bit pernickety here and I want to put the 10m squared at the beginning. So 10m squared goes at the beginning. The middle two terms, there's that negative 25 and then come down another 6. So that takes me to negative 31m. And then that was oh, my one's just not showing up. And then that 15 was positive, so plus 15. But what I'm saying is it's perfectly okay to leave it as this. these two answers are identical. There's just something in the maths teachers about us that we like it in that format because we know what's coming next. One last type to show you is this. Okay, this always catches pupils out in exams and they go, I've not seen this before. We shouldn't have to actually remind you what this means because we all know how to square a number. If I asked you to do 5 squared, or you would say, well, that's 5 times 5. So if I asked you to do a bracket squared, well, that just means a bracket times a bracket. So all it means is that our brackets match. And you've got the same bracket times the same bracket. So the minute you see a squared bracket, write it out, repeat it. And then we'll do the same as normal. So first terms, 2m times 2m is 4m squared. 2m times 7 is 14m. Now there I've got a 7 times 2m. Now that's the same thing again. 2m times 7 is 14m. And at the end I've got a plus 7 times a plus 7, which is plus 49. And when you tidy up the middle bit, you've got that repeated term. 14 add 14 is 28. And your plus 49. Okay, I hope this has helped. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.